it's on behalf of Mr. Ntuli Mshololo, initial Z.
All right.
Someone left a comment in the comment section and said, "Can you do a video side by side?" I want to check if that was Judge Rata, the AI version. Listen, you guys are absolutely hilarious. But you know what? It was at this moment when Lolo told us, well, she's told the court that she was representing accused number 5, and she introduces herself like we don't know who she is, and she says, "I am Lolo, initial Z." Okay, for me that was absolutely hilarious. But it was in that moment because the judge, it was like, we don't recognize this man. All he said was, okay, typically whenever it's Lolo, she always just gets the backhand of my lord, so to speak. There's just always something going on there. There's some undertone. But here's the next time Lolo speaks in that court.
13 October.
And then the consultations, you don't know the assistance. It's normally not done, but this court is prepared to instruct Mr. Baloyi on behalf of the state to issue subpoenas to any or all of the witnesses which you want to consult. The only proviso would be that they must either be consulted in your chambers or in court.
Yes, my lord.
If you want me to make that order.
That will.
But you've got to give me
Really
certain dates, certain. Dates must be certain that you want to consult so and so in Pretoria chamber number, what, or in this court. Mr. Baloyi can even arrange for other 2 or 3 courts.
That will be dearly appreciated, my lord. We will be dearly indebted to the court in that regard. Thank you.
But also, if I can add, the other witnesses will be requiring the accommodation, my lord.
What accommodation?
To stay during the period when they're testifying.
When they're testifying?
Yes, my lord.
Mr. Baloyi, is there such an exigency?
I'm not aware of any provision where defense witness is paid for by the state. There isn't such.
But that you must discuss. I'm sure you can discuss that with the legal aid board. But the state, once it has released the witnesses, they no longer have a hold on them to say they will house them where. Remember when you started here, there was that lady, Zandile, what's her name?
Zandile Kumar.
Zandile Kumar, I was told she was housed at...
We don't want to disclose that, yes.
Yeah, she was entitled to that because she was supposed to be a witness. But after she gave evidence, those rights are dissipated. Okay, but you can approach the legal aid board. I'm sure they can make some provision if necessary. I don't know.
I really am curious of what was going on in Lolo's mind with that request, because it was awkward. Yeah, it was really awkward because Lolo herself is accommodated by legal aid whenever she comes to the court. So that includes transportation, her legal fees, as well as being as accommodation. So in terms of defense witnesses, this was the first time personally I've heard a legal advocate make that request. And then I asked myself, why did she not ask legal aid? Or, knowing the legal aid as we know them, have they had this conversation and they have refused? I don't know. So I went digging to find out what exactly is the situation when it comes to defense witness expenses. Because we do know that state witnesses are covered, okay? They are so covered. You guys, I'll give you an example. I think it was Hos or Stein, okay? One of the two. And my lord said every weekend, okay, he would fly back to, I think, George. He would fly back to the Western Cape. And then on Monday he would come back to court. So all those arrangements were made, and if you remember, on Fridays they would have to end court early so that he could catch his flight back home. Actually, you know what? I think it's Host. No, I think it's Stain because he was retired, right? I think it's Stain. So then one day my lord commented, "Is what time should we start?" And because they wanted to know if he would have had his English breakfast and not jungle oats. Drop a 1 in the comment section if you remember that. And as I go over that memory with you, someone in the comment section, because I did do a poll, oh my goodness, and the poll was about, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Because Madlanga Commission as well as the SENZO MEYIWA were going to be playing at the same time. And most people said they would be watching the SENZO MEYIWA trial, even though it ended up being adjourning. Thank goodness. But even though it ended up being adjourning, but their initial choice was to go watch the SENZO MEYIWA trial. One comment stands out to me, and this person, I too was also torn. Like, what was I going to do? Because both cases are of interest to me. And someone left a comment and said, I'm going to watch the SENZO MEYIWA trial because we have come too far to leave it. And that really stopped me in my tracks. And I said, wow, that is so true. I mean, I'm now a ballistic expert. Do you guys remember the video I did? And I said, you know what? I'm a ballistic expert, thankfully, to the SENZO MEYIWA trial. That's why in the Madlanga Commission, when they were going all over the ballistic scenario, when Kwanazi rather was going over the ballistic situationship, it was crystal clear what was going on because we have our background experience from the SENZO MEYIWA trial. So thanks for that comment. Thanks for that reminder. So I wanted to find out what exactly. So that's with regards to the state witnesses. State witnesses, they've got all their expenses covered, okay? And of course, my lord over there almost dropped the location. My lord, he almost dropped the location of where they house witnesses. But yeah, so it's Uzandi. We don't know who the others are, but definitely I remember Stain was one of the witnesses who were housed by the state. Obviously, are being subpoenaed, and he was there for multiple weeks, if not days. So therefore, they are accommodating him transportation, accommodation, food, and not just transportation to court. No, transportation from the Cape Towns all the way back to this side, and that's airfare, right? Unfortunately, with the defense, they are at the mercy of legal aid. So I did some research, and here's what I found. In South Africa, defense witness expenses in a criminal case can be covered in certain circumstances, but there are important limitations, especially when the accused is represented by Legal Aid South Africa. First of all, legal aid can cover defense witness expenses, but it's limited. If the accused is represented by legal aid, their legal representative can apply to legal aid for authorization to pay witness expenses. Covered expenses can include travel, so that's the bus, the taxi, fuel allowance, accommodation if they're going to be testifying for more than just the day, and meals as well. However, because you already know how legal aid rolls, right? Legal aid must approve these expenses in advance. They are not automatically paid. The legal representative must motivate why the witness is necessary and why covering their costs is essential to a fair trial. We're talking about the same legal aid that was not willing to cover the cost of the Section 174 application preparation. Do you remember that time? Legal aid said, yeah, you can do Section 174 application, but we're not paying you. So in the end, accused number 1, 2, and 3 did not do their Section 174 application. Only accused number 4 did the application. And Ongumalo said he was willing to do it paid or not paid. So, do you think legal aid will be motivated to pay the expenses of the defense witnesses? So, for example, Ubabu Absalom Zungu, his testimony, how many days is it going to last? If he is called, he has to be housed, he needs meals, and as well, he needs transportation. And I smile because I remember him when he says, well, if Gininda says that I spoke to him or I refuse to come to court or that I'm scared to come to court, how come a car never came to pick me up for court? So even Absalom Zungu is well aware that transportation is provided. But that's on the side of being a state witness, right? But it's a little bit restrictive when you are now a defense witness, which for me feels a little bit unfair, if I'm really being honest. It feels unfair because defense witnesses are being limited in what they can get. So it feels like the defense of the accused is being crippled by managed by the fact that they cannot afford to pay the witnesses to come to court. And by pay, I don't mean compensation, I mean the expenses of coming to court. So, point number 2 would be the court will not normally pay for defense witnesses. The state only covers the state witnesses, that is, those subpoenaed by the prosecution. But my lord, okay, I think maybe this is where Shalolo got confused, because the state was going to subpoena, my lord was willing to order Baloyi to instruct Baloyi to issue subpoenas. So therefore maybe Mshololo said, hey, if it's a subpoena, then it's a cost involved. Okay, I think that's where she was coming from. Otherwise, I've been so confused the whole day. Like, why did she do that? Because it's not like she's a brand new advocate. She's definitely an experienced advocate. Okay, we've seen her in the other courtrooms. But yeah, I think that's the thing. So anyway, if they're subpoenaed, the state covers, but it's for the state witnesses. Defense witnesses are not paid by the court. It's up to the accused or their lawyer, legal aid, to make arrangements for bringing their witnesses. Point number 3, subpoena power does not guarantee expenses. Even if a defense witness is subpoenaed, that does not automatically entitle them to travel compensation unless prearranged. Witnesses may be legally compelled to attend via a subpoena, but their costs won't be reimbursed unless prior arrangements are made. So what should Shololo and the other defense team do? Well, if you are the accused or assisting someone who is in the accused, for example, the lawyers, inform legal aid, okay? Inform them early about the defense witnesses. So in this case, accused number 5 has to tell Shololo the witnesses and the witnesses' needs, okay? Transportation costs, accommodation, and then the lawyer must apply to legal aid to request funding to cover necessary witness expenses. And they have to provide the name and the role of the witness and the explanation why this witness is essential to the defense case. Wow. So now we've got legal aid preliminary evaluating witnesses, because obviously if the expenses are not covered by legal aid, what if the witness says, well, I can't afford to come? What happens next? It means the defense case is weak. That witness cannot come to court. And I don't think Judge Rata is in the business of doing Zoom meetings. Whew. Anyway, legal aid may approve only if the witness is essential and the costs are reasonable. So, do you know what I'm thinking of now? The defense witness, do you guys remember? Ngomezulu's witness for Dr. Mbatsanya, for one of the doctors, for Longwe Twala's foot. If that witness is not in the country, then legal aid can refuse to pay their travel costs to come to court. Ooh. Now that is something. Anyway, so here's some important things to note. Witnesses cannot claim expenses after the fact if not pre-approved. If legal aid refuses to cover a witness and the witness cannot attend without support, this could be raised in court, my lord. But it's not guaranteed that the court will intervene. A refusal to fund an essential defense witness might be appealable later as a fairness issue, but that's complex and not exactly guaranteed. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I hope that clarifies a little bit of our witness expenses covered, because Shololo put it to my lord, the other witnesses will require accommodation. And my lord said, I've never heard of such an exigence. Baloyi, have you heard of an exigence? And Baloyi is like, they're not state witnesses, not my monkey, not my circus. You're on your own. So hopefully the defense team will be approaching legal aid to just get that ironed out and crystal clear ahead of time, aka ahead of the 13th of October 2025. when court resumes. Ladies and gentlemen, that is literally, I would say, 10 days before the 11th. I'm going to say that one more time. The 11th year anniversary of the unaliving of SENZO MEYIWA at his baby mama's home in Foslaris. After they had had Sunday dinner, alleged intruders, according to the state case, came in and it became a robbery gone wrong. Accused number 5 sat in the vehicle outside as Longwe Twala ran past to go and seek for help, but because he didn't have his phone, he left his phone in the house. But then later on, he had his phone, and everybody was sleeping. Everybody except Makelani, because you know Makelani was there standing by the corner watching everyone, waiting to see the gold tooth of Ubongani Ntanzi. But then it wasn't Bongani Ntanzi anymore, had the gold tooth. The gold tooth became the runaway tooth. It became accused number 3's gold tooth. The state will later come to tell us that it wasn't really a robbery gone wrong. It was actually a hit orchestrated by Kelly Khumalo. She wanted Senzo gone. And she called. Accused number 5, there's evidence, WhatsApp calls in 2014, in August and in October, between accused number 5 and Kelly Khumalo. But what is absolutely crazy is that in 2014, there were no WhatsApp calls. So the state adapted their evidence to say, no, it was BlackBerry calls. But if you know, to have a BlackBerry call, you needed to have a BlackBerry phone. The state has not informed us that any of the phones were BlackBerry phones. They insist that it was a data usage, so therefore it was data usage, therefore that translates to a call. The Section 205 records from Opinky Van Dillingham over there at Vodacom show that they were indeed calls, but they were from Arthur, aka, the same Arthur who is in present day releasing singles with Ukeli Khumalo. But you know what, Asikolapo, we are absolutely not there. The defense has not started their defense case. They are still preparing for it. With that, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you on my next upload. Bye.